When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or skins, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skins uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Brand is super important. There are so many products out there in the software world that if you don't stand for some unique concept in people's minds, you're going to struggle. So I'm a huge believer in brand identity, brand attributes, strategic narrative, founder story, signature idea. Those are like the foundation for good marketing plan or strategy before you even get into demand gen and tactics and advertising. If you don't have that foundational story right, you're just going to flounder.
Step into the world of success with Your Brand Amplified, the ultimate podcast designed to unravel the intricacies of thriving businesses. I'm your host, Annika Jackson, and I'm on a mission to uncover the stories, strategies, and secrets that have propelled entrepreneurs and business leaders to success. I'm really intrigued by my next guest's projects, and specifically the one that he's really putting a lot of time and intentionality behind right now. Bill Zujewski, you're the founder and CEO of Good Life. You want people to have balanced lives and fulfilling lives. And we were talking a little bit about this because you are very busy as a father, as an entrepreneur, sometimes a solopreneur, a CMO. You exited from enterprise software. You've worked at many organizations. And I'm really interested because I feel like it's an interesting journey to go from engineering to entrepreneurship, right? After having also worked at these different organizations. So thank you first and foremost for being here.
Thanks, Annika. I'm looking forward to the conversation for sure.
Yeah. Let's unpack a little bit about your journey going from engineering into the corporate world, into deciding what you really wanted your life to look like.
Sure. You know, most 20-year-olds don't know exactly where life's going to take them. So I was an engineer to start, then ended up as a sales engineer, helping sales sell software products, and ended up at a small high growth company, and they threw product marketing at me. So now I was kind of in a marketing path. I spent the next 15 CMO for 3 or 4 software companies. 2 of the 4 got acquired by Oracle. So that was nice. And then I got the entrepreneurship about 8 years ago with 2 other co-founders. We created a small business called Green Business Bureau and had purpose there, certifying small businesses for being green. I sold that with those partners 2 years ago. And now I solopreneur. I launched Good Life last year, and I'm about a year into that, really trying to get my brand out there, get the product out there. Well, we'll get into that, but it's really the concept is you can score your life. I've been doing it for like 20 plus years. I used to have this little spreadsheet where I track how I'm doing with my health, my home, my wife, my relationships, my career, all those things, 0 to 10 at the end of the year, and then I'd have New Year's resolutions based on how I wanted to. And it worked for me. So now I'm in it. And I was a huge believer with 4 kids that are now in their 20s, a huge believer in carving out time for them, my family, and all that. So now I'm seeing if I can use that to help other people, get good at life and live a balanced life with this kind of scorecard.
Yeah. Well, we were talking a little bit before we jumped on about the fact that I work with a former Zen monk. So I'm very familiar with the wheel of life. And giving yourself ratings and kind of figuring out, oh, what do I want to improve upon? What's next? What am I doing really well at? And it's really a great way to hold yourself accountable. So how did you get into this work 20 years ago on your personal journey?
Yeah, it started with trying to just troubleshoot my life. Like there were times where I just felt like so stressed and sometimes unmotivated, sometimes anxious. And I created this, like, just the pause. This spreadsheet would help me just self-reflect on my life. Like, where was I happy, doing well? Where wasn't I? So it's less, in fact, I tell people the score is cool because, hey, who doesn't want to know, what their score is? And then how do I improve my score? But the bigger part of it is just the pausing to self-reflect, the fact that the wealth and money is not the best metric for, happy, healthy life. There's so many other things that contribute to that. By the way, I thought until about 3 years ago when I started dealing with life coaches, I thought I kind of invented this thing. And then I came across the Wheel of Life, which has been around for like 2,000 years, which talks about holistic living and the pieces of the pie and investing them in wealth building, health, and just having it's not even just balanced, it's integrated across all those slices of the pie.
Yeah, it really is. I think a lot of people come up with these constructs because we're all looking at, or should be looking at, how are we fulfilling what our actual purpose is here? How are we using our strengths, but how are we also taking time to be intentional with our family, with our loved ones, with growth opportunities, in our personal lives, and just being able to enjoy life a little bit and not just be, hitting the pavement, pounding the pavement, working at those jobs.
What's the point of life if there's not like joy in it, and that you don't have people in your life to share the success, things that you have with other people? It's kind of pointless. So I think people lose sight of that sometimes.
How did you working through this construct and these reflections help with that transition from working for companies, some of which were sold to larger companies, becoming an entrepreneur with partners, to now being a solopreneur?
Yeah. So one of the reasons I actually kind of flipped to soulpreneurship was the freedom that you get to kind of make your own schedule. So, which is hard to do if you don't have at least some rainy day fun, because you might go through a period of not adding a lot of income. And I was in a position to do that. I always wanted more freedom. And I did do a pretty good job, not that I'm patting myself in the back, of drawing the line at like 45 hours, of working, and also drawing the line on saying no to a lot of travel. Like I was just upfront with the companies I worked for. Like, I'm not going to be on the road more than one time a month because I have, 3 kids playing high school sports, and I'm not going to miss that. Right. So I was very planful by design, picking the companies that would give me that freedom and that had cultures that were employee family first. That's another big theme in my book and in my company, which is you can design your life like almost like a product. Like you can have a vision of what do you want it to look like in 5 years, 10 years, where you want to live, who you're living it with, what you're doing. And it's amazing. I wouldn't say you just end up manifesting all that, but a lot of the decisions you end up making day to week, you don't even realize it. They're subconsciously aligned with this vision of a life that you have, created for yourself. And that's what I did. Like where I am now, I'm looking outside my house with my 3 acres, living on a hill with 4, like this is what I pictured. And somehow I got here.
That is the dream. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone should dream.
Yeah. Well, and manifestation is part, the thoughts, the positivity, but the path is a big part of that, and taking those steps as well.
Yeah. And what I'm realizing is we're just not that disciplined. Like we don't hold ourselves accountable. That's why all these apps around diets and habits and all this, like we kind of all know all the things we should be doing, yet we don't do them. Right. And so that's why I'm thinking that this notion of a life trainer, just like you have that fitness trainer who's like getting you to the gym and holding you accountable, or your financial advisor who's like, you got to diversify. What are you doing? You got to, and I think my software and my philosophy of being able to train people, hold them then accountable for doing those things, it's actually a little radical in a way, but we'll see. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, well, it's definitely not something that we probably would have thought an engineer would create, right? Although, Wheels Life does have numbers, there is analysis.
Yeah, no, it's funny you should say that, because half the people think, well, you're an engineer, Bill. You like that structure in your life and the hard black and white facts and all that. And yet a lot of the life coaches are more of guides and helping discover yourself. And I would say they're more spiritual. And my stuff is definitely not spiritual. I'm believing in all that stuff, but my stuff is more around practices of what you should be doing with your life. So the Zen score, by the way, because you mentioned Zen, there's 2 scores. The Zen scores takes a minute. So if you have time, Monica, it's 11 questions. It's how you feel about these 11 years of life.
Oh, nice.
And it makes you kind of self-reflect about how you feel. The like score is 100 questions, and there's 14 on wealth. Do you have a 401k? Do you pay off your credit cards every month? Right? It's like, what are you doing in your life? It's like a credit rating against practice. So those are the 2 scores, how you feel about your life.
Nice. And I think that's an important thing to point out, because often when you're doing the Wheel of Life, it's all based on what you think without any data to back it up. But you're putting specific questions that are important to how we're going to go through our lives. Are we prepared for retirement or for that next phase of whatever we want to do, whether it's be a digital nomad, travel, have 3 acres, whatever the case may be. And if you're just, sitting there looking at a chart and thinking, okay, I think I'm doing okay here. But then the reality is, depending on your goals, you're not even close. And you won't really be able to achieve them. And then you're going to get another 10, 15 years down the road and be really disappointed.
Right. No, that's why you're exactly right. So the categories of my pie spell help grow: health, environment, leisure, purpose, growth, relationships, occupation, and wealth. And the life score, for leisure, it's going to be black and white. Do you spend time with hobbies or interests? Do you take, vacation? Do you do any kind of self-care like massage or spa? Like black and white. What do you do for joy, relaxation, and refreshing in your life? And then you got to answer those questions and get a score of, do you have enough leisure and joy in your life? Same with relationships. Are you a good listener? How often do you go out to dinner with friends? How often do you text your family? Like these are black and white practices. To have good relationships, you got to invest in the relationships. Are you doing those, right? So it's how you feel, but it's also, what are you doing?
Yeah. So why did you decide to have this be the product that you were going to go out and stand on as a solopreneur?
Yeah, well, it's a good question. I definitely, like Green Business Bureau, I was super excited getting up in the morning, knowing I was doing something bigger than just bringing home a paycheck, right? Trying to just help. My kids were passionate about plastic and helping, get clean water to people around the world and all that. So it was aligned with my family values. And this one too, I've been helping my nieces, nephews, cousins, friends with kind of my informal coaching. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe there's something I can do here, because life is so hard. We're all stressed. Maybe I can help people just get better at life. So if I can check both boxes, gives, back to the world, and also create some kind of lifestyle business that provides some income for me and my wife and kids, that's the dream, right? To kind of have both of those.
Yeah. So you have an app and you have a book. Talk about that journey. Which came first? What was the process like to build those?
Yeah. The book was relatively new. I just wrote that a few months ago. The first thing that came was the software itself, right? This little scorecard that asked you, had various assessments. And then I started trying to get people to use it. And that's where I needed some kind of marketing to just make people aware of this tool and discover my app, right? So that's the book. At first, it was serving as just a free giveaway, but then I realized people were really enjoying the book and there's some worksheets in there of assessing you. If you were low tech and you wanted to do it on paper, you could actually do it in book too. And so now got kind of both. You come to my website, Good Life, you could download the software or buy the book. Yeah. And by the way, for the entrepreneurs out there, because I know you have some of them, it's so easy to write a book and self-publish. I say easy, I should take that back. It's not expensive to do anymore, right? So Amazon has this, Kindle tool, Kindle Creator, and for free, you can publish to their site and get your book, make your book available. By the way, so this book right here, how much do you think this paperback, 200 pages costs for me to print for a single copy for someone anywhere in the world?
$3?
Close. Most people say like $8. It's $2.13.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's incredible. Yeah.
Not only that, Amazon will print on demand with locations around the United States and have it to you via Prime in 48 hours. It's just crazy. So this book, it obviously took the time to write it. It has some cool graphics in it. And, I had AI help me with those, of course.
Okay. I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Because there are people who are specialists with helping make sure that the book is formatted the correct way.
Right.
The cover art, all of that before you take it to self-publishing.
I used my kids, my family, my wife, I did that all on my own. The tools that are out there from Amazon made it pretty easy to lay it out. So it's very Kindle friendly, PDF friendly. So it wasn't hard to make it kind of, ready for the real world.
Yeah. Well, and as somebody who wanted to be behind the scenes and let the product speak for itself, obviously coming on podcasts, publishing a book, doing some of the other things that you're probably having to do to promote yourself, to promote the product, might be a little uncomfortable or a new part of your adventure. So I'd love to hear a little bit about that discoverability and, how you realized that you had to take additional steps.
This is my 8th podcast this year. So this is a new thing, but I started posting on Instagram 3 months ago. I do 3 or 4 short 1 minute, 2 minute videos about kind of life tips, right? But mostly aligned with my score and how to be happy, balanced, fulfilled, healthy, all those things. Just sharing a lot of the school of hard knocks wisdom I've accumulated with kind of the younger generation. I actually have today at 5, I run a young men's club. There's 20, 25 young men. It's kind of team coaching between 21 and 35. We're spending a lot of time on investing, unfortunately, because that's the one that's most intriguing, but I don't care. I get them to come every week for an hour and we talk about all aspects of life. I know you do stuff with women, right? So I think this young men's club is a little different because I found that they're just more free to say what's on their mind when there's just a bunch of guys in a room. So, and by the way, getting that off the ground wasn't that hard because my sons are 22, 25, and 28. So I just reached out to them and their network. And, I was a little concerned about this bro club that was forming out there. And I was just trying to see if another way I can give back is just try to help them with their lives.
Nice. Investing is the inroad, right?
Right. It's the hook. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all about making money. Unfortunately, online gambling is a huge problem right now. Here's a stat that just came out. 2 out of 3 college boys or men have placed an online bet. 2 out of 3.
Wow. No, I have a daughter. She is senior in high school.
Yeah.
And she is not a big social media person. She does watch stuff on YouTube, but that's about it. She doesn't post much. Asked me to stop posting because
yes.
This is a funny story. Last year for her French class, the teacher assigned students to internet stalk other students.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't have much she has a social media just to follow some accounts that she likes, like art accounts and things like that. But the person who stalked her found all of the information about her life from my socials.
Huh.
And
Wow.
I haven't posted much about her in years, but they really dug into like when she was little, itsy bitsy, and different experiences we've had traveling and things. And so it made me kind of take pause, and then she asked me, don't post any pictures of our summer travels, Mom, this summer. And so she's very much a different situation than a lot of kids.
And not too unique, by the way. My kids are the same way. My wife, for sure, would rather keep our lives very private. So I'm trying to balance and thread the needle there of providing useful, valuable content without, involving too much of my family life in it. And it's hard because a lot of the things I tap are things I learned the hard way that happened to me. So I am sharing stories. So I want to be authentic of things I've learned, but then also, not be too public with me and my family.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, because that's a worthy goal. I think as I've gotten older, I've become less public on social, and it's been fine because I'm so busy just enjoying life and studying the things that I want to study, or teaching and podcasting, helping my daughter get to where she wants to go for university, all of that. I feel like I've carved a place for myself now where I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing, and I've figured out how to monetize it and get to reach my goals, which is fantastic. So I know that your app would be something great for me to keep me on track. But I also noticed, you can buy the book on Amazon. You can also get it for free on Kindle Unlimited, which I have. And then you can download the app for free. You can sign up for a newsletter. So what are the ways that you are monetizing this part of your life?
Yeah. So there is a free version. 95% of my users are on that free version. It's very basic. It really has two cool features. It has the Zen score, and you can track and trend it. How's your health doing month to month, and previous scores, but it's how you feel. It doesn't have any of the features around your life score. The life score is also like a playbook for life. Like I've taken, here's the 14 people or the 14 things that people have done who have an amazing home environment have done, right? With their commute and, keeping it neat and access to the outdoors, like in their weather. So that whole life book or playbook, I call it life book, it's playbook, that's not free. There's also a coach's version that has collaboration, so you can share your scores. There's journaling that's not free. You can share your notes, goals, issues, plans with your coach. So there's a whole collaboration aspect between a professional and there's a life stressors tool in there, Annika, which is, I'll send you a coupon for the free year on it. But the life stressors, I used to call it my Blue Monday tool. When there were days where I felt down or unmotivated or like overwhelmed with something, I have this list of like the top 30, 40 things in life that cause stress, right? Whether that's you just overspent on a purchase, or you got in an argument with a friend, or you feel out of shape, or a project's hanging over your head, or you have no money for retirement. Like you go through this checklist and you try to identify how many life stressors do you have. And it's like step one and starting to address why you feel so stressed and trying to find out root cause. So those are some of the things that aren't free that I'm trying to promote. But I'm giving anyone who asks, I give paid versions free as well right now, because my focus this year at least is to create a product that people love. So I'm just trying to get as many people using it and as much feedback as I can before I start charging a lot for it.
Nice. Yeah, those reviews are gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, talk about the transition to taking it from just a consumer product to deciding that life coaches was a primary use case for the app.
Yeah. So for the listeners there who are entrepreneurs, you're probably using AI in some way. If you're not, you're crazy. I mean, I use it like 5, 10 times a day. So first of all, I'm not a life coach. I don't know anything about life coaches. So, but I uncovered that 3 or 4 life coaches were using it. So I'm like, okay, maybe that's a pivot for me or a better market because they have more money. They might be willing to spend, a few $100s a year versus a consumer who may not want to spend even $5 a month, right? So I had to learn quickly. I wanted to reach out and talk to like 50 life coaches. Like, what do they do? What's working? How do they use technology and all that? And the way I did that was I found a little startup that has this business development AI agent that goes out and connects with 40 people a day on LinkedIn. And it finds whether they were life coach in their title or have a life coach certification. And I found thousands of these people and I connect with like 20 a day. I do 1 or 2 Zooms a day. And it's like having a salesperson working for me without having to spend the money on a salesperson. And I think I'm up to like 500 life coaches now who have connected with me and follow me after about 3 months. So that's where I'm trying to figure that out now. I did a little workshop with 7 life coaches. 3 of the 7 are committed to using it. They provide more holistic coaching. Some of the other life coaches deal with like one issue, like divorce or empty nest. So for them, it's not as interesting. Some are very spiritual. So it's not a home run for every life coach, but I have carved out, there is a niche of these coaches who do a more holistic, real life type of approach that this seems like to be a good fit for them.
Yeah. And that is a use case for AI that can be positive or negative depending on how granular it gets.
Yeah.
Right. I've seen some companies not necessarily be reaching out to the right people through their AI tools. And, for instance, I'm in podcasting. If I had a tool that reached out to people to talk about podcasting, but had podcasts that they'd been running for 10 years, that makes no sense. They're a good connection for me, but not to talk about podcast service.
There's no doubt I have egg on my face at least 3 times a week from someone calling me out on using AI to connect, right?
Interesting.
So it happens. As soon as it flips to, this sounds interesting, Bill, right? And I get a DM back, it becomes personal, right? And I give them a personal message and I ask them to meet or hop on a Zoom, and you can't simulate a Zoom. So, but it's going to be tougher. Again, I'll put on my sales and marketing hat for people not to be super cautious and sensitive, whether that's a real person or not reaching out to them. Right. And so it's going to be even harder now to connect with, get meetings with people, I think.
I would agree with that. And I think that's an interesting conundrum because, I know there are tools like I have a Delphi profile and my Delphi could attend meetings for me. I just have her as a static image. So you can talk to her, you can text her, you can't interact with the video version of me because I've been playing with other tools too. But I think maybe I don't know if it's HeyGen or a different tool, but you can start sending your avatar to meetings for you. So there are tools that are making that time together more and more precious.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's really scary is I am involved with another company. I'm helping 2 guys at Momentix. And then I'm also involved with this delectable AI company. But at Momentix, we're trying to raise money. And I created a custom GPT, which represented me as CEO. And it captured our strategy, our go-to-market plan, our brand and all that. And I kind of call it virtual Bill Z, right? And it essentially, you could interact with that GPT as if you were talking to me. And if you have any questions about anything about Momentix, the company, it's like talking to me.
Yeah,
it's a little scary, actually.
That's how my Delphi is. She's programmed with over 4 million words of content from interviews I've given, interviews I've done, courses I've taught at our university or at, workshops I've taught at conferences, writing I've done, all of that. And so when you have a conversation, as long as you're not asking personal things, because she won't tell you the right things personally. My boyfriend actually went on and tested it and she didn't know what type of food I ate or, all these other things, or she just misled. But if you stick to podcasting, brand building, public relations, digital media, things like that, then she's really great for people to talk to.
Yep. Yep.
So, and it can be scary, but it's also sometimes good because then those FAQs that you get, you can have somebody talk to your virtual
Yep. For sure.
version of you.
Yeah. No, for sure.
But I do think that going back to Good Life, this is the time when we are still figuring out what we want to use or how we want to partner with AI tools. And that's really important because there's not a world that exists without it at this point. I mean, you speaking about the other two companies that you're helping with, right? One of them is redefining grocery shopping through AI.
Right.
Which I think I'm like, okay, I need to check that out now.
I know. By the way, I got sucked back into the corporate world. I couldn't resist. I'm like, oh my God, this is a killer app. So I am putting on my CMO hat back for this software company.
CMO,
I got one more
there.
I got
founder.
one more in me.
Yeah, but I think that that's where let's use these tools. Let's figure out business cases for these tools. But the human connection is still important. The human goal setting, having dreams and hopes, right?
Yeah.
Help us move through the world and not give up and think, oh, well, why do we do anything? Because AI can just do it all. Well, it can't.
Right.
At least at this point. AI is not going to walk my dog and cuddle my dog or talk to my daughter about what school she wants to go to or making sure she's got this certification so that she can become a tutor for the SAT or whatever the case may be at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I almost take on this Momentix project with these two 20-year-olds because I didn't want to do it just for money. And this was a company that allowed you to save your digital tickets, memories from live events, concerts and games and all that. And I'm like, okay, sounds cool. But I was missing the why. And it finally hit me. There is a why here, which is there's this acronym kids use IRL in real life, right? IRL. And actually, helping people go out and meet each other at concerts and games and DJs and clubs is actually a worthy cause, I believe in, because too many of these kids are, online gaming, online gambling, and not getting out enough and socializing and learning those life skills and having fun. I mean, it's so much fun, more fun in person than virtually. So that's my cause for that company. Right?
Yeah. And that really reminds me of like the early days of the internet because I worked in magazines at the time. I would go into AOL and I think Yahoo, maybe chat rooms to find people to promote the magazine because it was a music magazine. And I'd offer them tickets to our events in local cities so I could meet them face to face. But I'd also send them swags every month so they could promote the magazine. But then I also think about early social media like Friendster. Some of the best friends that I still have today are people that I met randomly on Friendster because they're like, oh, she's in my area and this is her profile. I think we get along. So I'll reach out, right? And that's what that's the experience that we got to have, way back. It's not the experience that kids are having today or young adults are having today.
Yeah.
So
there's a place, don't get me wrong, technology and AI can have huge benefits to our social fabric, right? Finding people that are like you and then meeting up with them in person, right? But without the AI or online tools to find those people to connect, I mean, I don't even know what the stats are for online dating these days. I got to think it's through the roof, right? That like half the kids must find their dates through online dating apps because they're not even going into the office anymore. So I don't want to go off track too much, but you get my point that there's a place, we have to figure it out, but there's a place for AI in our lives. There's a place for tech in our lives, but nothing replaces a human kind of touch relationships and all that. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that could be somebody's goal if they use the app, right?
Yeah.
To make sure that when they look at their score for, are they actually getting out and meeting people? Are they enjoying a social aspect? They have people they connect with.
Yeah, no, for sure. The other thing, my kids struggle with purpose because they're kind of young. When they think of purpose, they were thinking saving the world kind of purpose, right? I said, no, I mean, building your career so that you have income to do things you want to do in life and give back. Like in your 20s, that could be your purpose. As you get older, helping, dedicating time to your partner, or then my kids are my greatest purpose, right? Like you mentioned your daughter, right? That's what helps get me out of bed. Like I want them to have amazing opportunities and an amazing
Same.
life. And so, that's amazing purpose. So people just don't pause to think about all the reasons why they should be excited about, getting out of bed in the morning, right?
Yeah. Why are there two eyes in good life?
Yes. Okay. So you could appreciate this from several aspects. One, good life with one eye was taken, and the guy wanted like $200,000 for the domain. So I'm bootstrapping this company. Two, for searches, it actually didn't bring back anything unique because good life is good. So SEO. So, and three, I actually have a little brand play here. If I get this thing off the ground, so far so good.
When you get this thing off the ground.
When I get these things off the ground, thank you. Those two eyes are going to be two people, because
oh, nice.
the relationship part is the most important part of a good life. And now I'm also using the two eyes in any of my tools or features like life tips, life guides, life stressors. So now life with two eyes becomes kind of my brand anchor for a lot of my product and feature name. So it's starting to evolve. But the first feedback I got from my kids is, Dad, that's so corny, two eyes. So but I said I had to be realistic, one, about the economics. But now I'm actually happy I did it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a smart move. Well, I have looked at some websites it's like, okay, yeah, that's not in my budget.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the exploration of being an entrepreneur, right? Figuring out, your purpose, your vision, mission, values, but you still need to figure out the full branding and how you're going to showcase that brilliance and that difference in the market.
Yeah. Even in high tech, which is where I spend my career, brand is super important. There are so many products out there in the software world that if you don't stand for some unique concept in people's minds, you're going to struggle. So I'm a huge believer in brand identity, brand attributes, strategic narrative, founder story, signature idea. Those are like the foundation for a good marketing plan or strategy before you even get into demand gen and tactics and advertising. If you don't have that foundational story right, you're just going to flounder. So
yeah, amazing. Well, this conversation is to be continued.
I can't wait to see how you do with your Zen score and life score.
Yeah. Let's come back in a year and see where you're at.
Cool.
How the business is going, what new reflections you have to bring to us.
Sounds good,
Okay,
Anik. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully our listeners did too. I'm glad we're connected. And where are you based again?
I'm based in California, but I will talk to you about Boston. MIT is one of the schools my daughter is looking at.
Oh, yeah.
So,
okay.
yeah.
So, and if you have any questions about Boston, let me know. All four of my kids live in Boston. So
fantastic.
It's a great town. Town. Safe, super well connected. So hopefully she gets in. That would be an amazing achievement.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to lead people to goodlife.com with two eyes.
Two eyes.
We'll have show notes. And Bill, do you have a favorite quote, mantra, verse, poem, family motto?
Do I have a family motto? I mean, my motto for my company is get good at life. One of my life philosophies is that people reciprocate. So it all starts with giving. That's what I kind of teach my kids. Those are kind of a couple of them. Yep. My tagline for all my social profiles is father, husband, friend, and then executive last, right? And in that order. So that is another fundamental belief for me, for sure.
Amazing. Well, this has been a fun conversation. Thank you for taking part of your day to speak with me.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you to everybody who's watching this episode or listening to it. Make sure to download the app, get the book. We'll have all the links for you so that you can get started. This is great going into the last throes of summer. Almost everybody at least, is back in school at this point.
Yes.
Using the last quarter of the year to really figure out, not waiting till last minute, not waiting till December to make resolutions, but thinking through this last quarter of the year, what we want our life to look like next year, 5 years, 10 years. And this is a great start.
Awesome. Yeah. You can't design your life and then live intentionally, for sure.
Fantastic. Thanks for listening or watching to this episode of Your Brand Amplified. Don't forget to leave us a rating or review on your favorite podcast listening platform. And if you want to learn more, check us out at yourbrandamplified.com.